So this is a demonstration of Daniel 8 and the way the word vision is used in the text, and the fact that there are two words in the Hebrew for the word vision. One of the English renderings is appearance, the rest are vision in Daniel 8. The term vision and the Hebrew words that vision are, there's two words in the Hebrew that are translated vision in Daniel 8. Of those two words translated vision, they're translated vision 10 times. And one of the times, one of the two words is translated into the English as appearance. And that would be one of the two words that's used the least. One of them is used 4 times in the Hebrew, which is mare. And one of them that's translated vision is kazon or shazon. And that is translated to the English word vision 7 times. 3 times mare is translated into vision, 7 times kazon is translated to vision, and once what we see in English as appearance is mare. So 4 mares, 7 kazons. So let's take a look. In the 3rd year of the reign of King Belshazzar, a vision appeared unto me, even unto me Daniel, after that which appeared unto me at the first. And I saw in a vision, and it came to pass, when I saw, that I was at Shushan, in the palace, which is in the province of Elam. And I saw in a vision, and I was by the river of Ulai. Then I lifted up my, oopsie. Let's go back one. Then I lifted up my eyes and saw, and behold, there stood before the river a ram which had 2 horns, and the 2 horns were high, but one was higher than the other, and the higher came up last. Of course, this is the Medes and Persians. I'm going to skip through the verse if you're not familiar with it to demonstrate where exactly these terms are used. And you can read this on your own if you're not familiar with it. Okay, now there's one in these 4 verses. There's one time, verse 13. How long shall the vision concerning the daily sacrifice and the transgression of desolation to give both the sanctuary and the host to be trodden underfoot? And it came to pass when I, Daniel, had seen the vision, and I heard the vision, and sought for the meaning. Then behold, there stood before me as the appearance. That's one of the words. It's usually translated vision in this chapter. And I heard a man's voice between the banks of the Ulai, which called and said, Gabriel, make this man to understand the vision. So he came near where I stood, and when he came, I was afraid and fell upon my face. But he said unto me, Understand, O son of man, but for the time of the end shall be the vision. Now, an interesting fact about these 4 verses is 2 of them are shazon and 2 of them are mare. We'll get to that. None in those, and then I don't think there's any in those. And then the last 2 verses of the chapter, we have 3 times vision is used. And the vision of the evenings and mornings, which is told is true, wherefore shut thou up the vision, for it shall be for many days. This is another interesting fact in these 2 verses. And I, Daniel, fainted. It was 6 certain days afterwards. I rose up and did the king's business, and I was astonished at the vision. Guess what? These 3 are not the same word. But when you read it, you would just think they were absolutely identical. What he's talking about. How would you know if he's not just talking about a single vision? You wouldn't in the English. So let's explore this. 2 Hebrew words are translated vision, and then of course the one which is appearance. These 2 words are mare and shazon or kazon. So I'm going to try to help demonstrate this fact. We're going to color code these, which will be helpful later. So, chapter 8, 2 words for vision. Kazon, mare. Let's take a look. verses 1 and verses 2, twice in verse 2, are kazon. You see there? A kazon appeared unto me. This is the beginning of the chapter, verse 1. And I saw in a kazon, same word, and I saw in a same word. Those are all the same word in these two verses, the first two verses. So the context of the vision in Daniel 8 is shazon or kazon. Pretty standard there. Okay, let's see where the next version or the next usage is. Okay, verse 13. And I heard one of the saints speaking, and another saint said unto the certain saint which spake, how long shall the vision concerning the daily sacrifice? It's a shazon also. So far, all the context is kazon. And it's related to the 2300 days. Okay, verse 15 and verse 15. Oh, interesting. Two different words in the same verse, translated vision. Wow, that's confusing. So we were talking about the kazon in the last verse on the last page was verse 13. And he came unto me unto 2,300 days. Then shall this is a King James version. Then shall the sanctuary be cleansed. So he's been talking about the kazon so far 4 times. It's kazon, kazon, kazon. Came to pass when I, Daniel, had seen the kazon and sought for the meaning, then behold, there stood before me as the appearance of a man. It's actually the first time in the chapter we get this new word, which will from here on out be translated as vision. But something to do with the kazon. There stood before him a mare, dealing with a man. And I heard a man's voice between the banks of the Uli, which called and said, Gabriel, make this man to understand which is it going to be? Verse 16 and 17, one of each. Oh, so everything in the text up to this point has been about the kazon, and then suddenly standing before him is the mare of a man, and then one man's voice said to the other, make him understand the vision, but it's not the kazon, which has been the only word translated vision up to this point has been the word kazon, and then in the English, if you were to read this, it says vision too. How would you not relate that to this other term? But it's not that other term. It's mare, which is translated for the first time as appearance. But if you're reading in the English, this would be seemingly associated with all the other mentions of the term vision, but it's not. It's a different word. And it's is in the text once before in the previous verse. The last mention, in fact, was mare. It's an appearance of a man. And then this voice says, make him understand the mare. And the last time back, and then it says this, so he came near where I stood, and when he came, I was afraid and fell upon my face. But he said unto me, understand, O son of man, for at the time of the end shall be the kazon, which is associated with the 2300 days in verse 14. Interesting. Verse 26. And we have it twice in another verse. Let's see. One of each. Now notice, one of each. We just were told the kazon isn't until the time of the end. And we've had this new term introduced regarding the mare, which is a different word than the vision up to that point through the text. And the mare of the evenings in the morning, which was told is true. Notice this, the kazon is associated with the evening and the morning, the 2300 evenings and mornings. Now he's associating the mare with the evening and morning, after he's just said the kazon is not until for the time of the end. Now, why is that interesting? Because our introduction to evening and morning in this text was to do with the kazon, but it's not until the end. We've already had the two words associated together. Now it's speaking of the mare of the evenings and mornings. And then he says, wherefore shut thou up the kazon, for it shall be for many days. Which, like in the previous, notice this. Oops, it's taking forever. Okay. We're told the 2300 evenings and mornings in the original language. Revoker. Oops. Great. Now I've done it. Okay. And it came to pass I had seen the cause zone. So the cause zone's associated with his vision up to this point, because mare hasn't been used. So the 2300 evenings and mornings are associated with the only vision he's had. And he had seen the cause zone, which is his vision up to this point. And then we get this mare introduced. And he said to understand the mare, one man says to the other. And then he tells us the cause zone in verse 17. So the verse 16, he's told he's going to understand the mare, but that the cause zone won't be fully understood until for the time of the end shall be the cause zone. Now remember that. And the mare of the evening and morning, which was told is true, wherefore shut thou up the cause zone, for it shall be for many days. So both times it mentions for the time of the end or for many days, it's talking about the cause zone. And we're told that the mare he is to understand. And I, Daniel, fainted and was sick certain days. Afterward I rose up and did the king's business, and I was astonished at the vision, the mare, but none understood it. Then chapter 9 begins. So he doesn't understand either. And that's how the chapter ends. He's told the cause zone isn't for him to be understood, and it won't be until the time of the end and for many days. Where he's told in the vision that he is to understand the mare. So all we know so far is the cause zone won't be understood till the time of the end or for many days. He's told that the mare should be understood, and then he ends the text not understanding either. So stay tuned for part 2, where we go into chapter 9 and see how these terms are used regarding the 70 weeks prophecy. And we're going to find out that the mare is associated with the cause zone, but that the cause zone isn't to be understood until the time of the end, and that the mare is a portion of the cause zone. Therefore, and that the mare is associated, it's what the 70 weeks is the mare, the appearance of a man, and that it's cut off from the cause zone, the red, which is for the time of the end, which means the cause zone has to be longer of a period of time than the mare, and that the mare is the 70 weeks prophecy, the appearance of a man. And that this association, as we'll see in chapter 9, means that the time span of these prophecies start together from the decree of Daniel 9, and that the mare is fulfilled by Christ in the 70 weeks, and the fulfillment of Daniel's prayer at the beginning of chapter 9, and then that the angel comes to explain the vision, both of them, the cause zone and the mare. And the mare is cut off and is the 70 weeks, which means that the cause zone has to be longer of a time span than the mare, because the mare is a portion of the cause zone, which means the 2300 days are 2300 years.